Whoa. 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 Hey everybody. Welcome back to the Whole Lotta Nerd channel. It is I, Jack, and this is the review for Doctor Strange in the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, directed by Sam Raimi, who came on because Scott Derrickson, who's known for movies such as The Exorcism of Emily Rose and Sinister, left the project. And this movie has been touted as Marvel's horror film, or their horror themed entry into the MCU. You know how every entry in the MCU has a different theme. This was supposed to be their horror their horror themed entry, and I understand now why Scott Derrickson left the project. Sam Raimi fits perfectly into the MCU. I don't want to say machine, but it works. It works checking off the boxes of how an MCU film is made. It works. His direction style works. His approach works. I mean, people in the horror film community, they know who Sam Raimi is. If you don't know who Sam Raimi is, there's films like Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, Spider-Man. He did the original Spider-Man trilogy. But Sam Raimi's horror movies have a touch of comedy, absurdity, slapstick. So I think that this is why Marvel chose Sam Raimi, because it works. It works. His sensibilities, his approach works more in line with what they're looking for than I think what Scott Derrickson wanted. Which, I mean, if you see movies like The Exorcism of Emily Rose, you're not gonna laugh at all, unless you find the body contortioning parts kind of laughable, which I kind of did, but that's not the point. The point is, your kids in the movie theater, they're going to be seeing this, and they're really going to be seeing it like this, because I could only imagine what he would have done on this film if he were given the chance. It wouldn't be a PG-13 film. It would be a rated R film, but for what reason? The gore, the horror, the scare, it would have been like this. What Sam Raimi did was he took, I guess, this idea and made it this. About right here. Put it like right there. And it works for the MCU. This is a horror film in terms of MCU. There's a lot of things that happen that are pretty gross. They're inspired by so many other horror films. So there will be audiences that will feel very tense, very scared, not traumatized, but they'll feel the fear, and it works. It really, really works. And for that, I gotta say this movie is better than the original Doctor Strange, and it's one of the better MCU films. People who know me personally, they know, for me, the weakest MCU films are the first two Thor films. Those suck. To me, they suck. The third, it works. That's where they figured out Thor, even though he's not Thor. He's a bimbo Thor, but it works. It makes you laugh. It's good. But in this film was, I gotta say, okay, let's talk about the theme. The theme about this film, there is a theme. It's not just horror, and I don't want to give anything away, but the theme is about coming to terms with, I guess, just what life has dealt you, where life has led you. You come to terms with that. And you'll hear people say that there's too much flash, not enough substance in this film. I disagree. I think the film did a really good job of explaining why Wanda Maximoff is in this film. I think though, had people, if I mean, there's a lot of people who haven't seen WandaVision. My friend who I went to see the film with, he hadn't seen it, so I had to give him a little bit heads up. But I think had he seen WandaVision, he would feel more weight for the Wanda character. And I think critics who are saying, "Well, it's a good film. It's good, but it's not too much story." Well, I think they may not have seen WandaVision. I think if you saw WandaVision, you'll understand what's going on, what are the intentions. I mean, and I think personally, this is the final chapter to WandaVision. And that says a lot. That says a lot. So there's a lot of moments in this film. I mean, you're going to be like, oh! And I mean, you know there's cameos, you know there's surprises. And it came out recently that Kevin Feige was pissed that the advertising team gave away too much of this film. And I can see why. I mean, we all saw the chair. We saw the commercial. We saw the chair. That would have been an amazing surprise had no one knew. Had no one knew about the Illuminati, I think minds would even be blowing up even more. I'm not gonna say that I didn't lose my mind in that scene, because there's something that happens in that scene where I was like, oh my god, but had they kept that one more part, that one more secret out of the trailers or out of the promotions, mind blown. Whew. But this film it is great. It's good. If you want scores, 4 out of 5. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. It's better than it's of course better than the original Doctor Strange, and I think it's one of Marvel's best MCU films because they did something different, very different. I mean, yes, they have their flow. You know their flow. If you catch on, if you see enough of these films, you understand their flow. You understand how they approach these films. But I think they took it a little differently because of Sam Raimi and what this film was supposed to be thematically. And it worked. I think it worked really well for me. It I don't know what this is, but it basically it activated my horror senses. I was like, oh yeah, I know what that's doing. I know what they're doing there. So it's a great film. Go see it. You're really gonna go see it more for the surprises. There's a lot of surprises. Still, even though you've seen some stuff in the trailers, there's still a couple more in there. And yeah, where do they go from here? Well, they're leading up to something. And I think I mean, we saw Loki. If you saw Loki, you saw what happened at the end. I think these things are trajectionally, they're reaching the Loki part. You thought it would have been happening, but no, I don't think they reached it yet. We'll have to see what Ant-Man brings. But this was awesome. This was a really good film. I completely forgot this was supposed to be the horror themed entry to the MCU. Completely forgot. And that's why I kept seeing all these articles on screen, right? Like, is this movie too disturbing for your kids? I gotta say, I wouldn't. Don't take a 5-year-old to this. No, don't take a 5-year-old. No. Maybe 8, 9. Have them see Beetlejuice a couple of times. Okay, then no, they'll be ready for this. But a 5-year-old, no. Nah. There's a couple of things that might make them stay awake at night. But we'll do Tudos Marvel like usual. And well, what did you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, do all those things. And I'll see you next time with more.